When I was 10, my friend Patrick told me a story. It was not a particularly pleasant story, and though, in hindsight, it does not seem like a genuine relation of true events, he told it as though it were very real indeed. The story concerned a friend of a friend, as all the best stories do, locked in a classroom at night, only to discover that the school was host to a malevolent poltergeist. Said victim, I recall, was supposed to have disappeared without a trace. Reading this, you are very likely rolling your eyes at the cliché involved, but imagine yourself a 10-year-old, huddled in a sleeping bag in your best friend's living room and illuminated by only a small lamp. Within that dark room, with nothing but the horrified exhalations of myself and my friends, anything could have been true. We, as people, have a fascination with the macabre. It is an undeniable fact that tragic or horrifying events sell more news than any other kind. Within the horror genre of popular fiction, one can observe an increasing interest of audiences in products which blur the line between fiction and reality, examples being the found footage genre of filmmaking, or in video games, with the genre of survival horror. Realism communicated through various means, editing techniques, customizability and such like, makes such fear more tangible. We can place ourselves in the shoes of characters within the story before us. To put it simply, we like to be scared and we like to believe it. My point is that within the horror genre, believability is extremely important. The process for writing Eyes began with a flash of inspiration, a fantasy horror story. The idea came to me in a dream, a strange temple filled with eyes, and a harsh winter outside. I created the characters based around a kind of subversion of typical fantasy heroes, corrupting their selfless heroes into demonic fiends and turning the kindly, courageous king, in this case the village chief, into a coward who can do nothing to save the children of his people. My ideas were influenced by Lovecraftian ideas of corruption and change. It was here that I hit a snag. If, as postulated earlier, the delivery format of a horror story is what makes it strong, then how best to deliver a fantasy horror story? After all, the founding idea of fantasy is that it is as far removed from reality as possible. My solution was thus: that I deliver a story as though it were being regaled to the reader by a mysterious third party. This enigma not only creates an air of mystery regarding the storyteller's identity, but it also leaves the story deliberately tattered, as though it had been passed along and changed until it reached its current form. It creates a more authentic feel, as though the reader is truly sitting in a tavern of old listening to a stranger tell them a story. This is, I feel, a strong technique when considering how to deliver a story. Depending on the topic in question, my advice is, as I did, to think back to your earliest memory of being regaled by your friends or family. What made that story exciting enough to stick in your mind? The answer probably lies in the delivery.